I was just out on that 49ers practice field, and for the first time in 2 seasons, so was Deebo Samuel. Looks like he's in great shape, and Deebo even made a handful of big plays during 49ers training camp practice. Now, this is going to be a loaded update, so stick with it because I've got a lot to go over, starting with the fact that Deebo's 90-man roster spot formerly belonged to Ricky Pearsall. 49ers have placed Pearsall on season-ending injured reserve, which means he no longer counts against the 90. Pearsall and the 49ers have opted for PCL reconstruction surgery.
We consulted with, multiple opinions, experts in the field, over 100 years of NFL experience with the different docs. You probably are very familiar with the names, along with our own doc, Tim McAdams. The decision was made to go with a non-operative deal. I had a PCL myself, second or third year in the league, and that's kind of the way that things go. It's going to be a struggle to get through that year. You get to the off season, and most resolve themselves without surgery. Unfortunately, Ricky's did not. He did well throughout the off season. He got to the point where he ramped it up, to the last gear right before camp, and then he came into camp, and the rigors of camp, competition and whatnot, he swole up right away.
This is the last resort, the route that they did not want to take, but because the swelling had recurred earlier this week, the 49ers and Pearsall opted to go with the surgery route now to maximize his chances of being fully healed by 2027 training camp. They say 6 to 12 months is the recovery timetable for a PCL surgery, but up to 12 months means that if it takes all of that time, and there's no guarantee that Ricky is going to be the same level of agility as he had been prior to this surgery, but if it takes that entire time, then it's going to be next training camp when Ricky Pearsall is able to return. So, gutting news. John Lynch came into the media room and shared it today. Ricky Pearsall and the 49ers did not want to go this route. They wanted to give him a chance to play in 2026 because he was feeling great throughout the offseason. He came in great shape. But sometimes when you ramp things up to training camp intensity, it's impossible to simulate that until you actually get to camp. The knee struggles under that extra duress, and that's exactly what happened. So it was a calculated gamble for the 49ers to give Pearsall a chance to play in 2026. Now they're not messing around. Now they realize that the risk of not undergoing surgery outweighs the risk of surgery, and it is a risky surgery for the PCL. It's not like the ACL, which has essentially become garden variety. The 49ers almost certainly will not pick up Ricky Pearsall's 5th-year option, which is due the decision is due this offseason, and they will make it a contract year for him when he returns from his surgery in 2027. So all the best to Ricky Pearsall, but Deebo Samuel has taken his spot on the roster.
Kind of been tight with him. He was in Arizona. I was in Arizona. Kind of haven't lost a beat since last year when I left. We still stayed in communication, and I kind of talked to him the night whenever he got the news, and he was a little frustrated. And I was like, bro, just keep your head up, man. Your time's coming. It's just like he just kind of had bad luck right now. It's like really nothing that he can do about it. But overall, he's shown what he's capable of when he's healthy, and, wish him well in surgery and a quick recovery for sure.
On to today's practice, where the 49ers defense showed out. I mean, the coverage today was very, very good. A lot of broken up passes. Forced the 49ers quarterbacks into uncomfortable situations. I thought both Brock Purdy and Mac Jones were less accurate than they typically are. I'll go through some of the plays in a bit, but the fact that the defense did perform as well as it did today, I think is exceptional given the fact that there is a lot of injury attrition along the defensive line. Mikhail Kamara, who's the defensive end undrafted free agent out of the University of Indiana, he was carted off the field today with what looked to be a knee injury. Cam Sample, veteran free agent edition, didn't practice, 49ers saying it was a knee injury. Romello Height, the rookie second-round pick, elbow issue, doesn't seem to be all too serious, but he did not practice either. So all in all, And Keon White also didn't practice. Adductor, that is one of the core muscles. Well, all in all, the 49ers, by the end of today's practice, had only 3 healthy defensive ends. They had Sam Okuwanu, they had KJ Henry, whom they signed just a couple days ago, and they had Quentin Bell at defensive end, whom they signed just a couple days ago. So they had to get very, very creative. Kevin Givens, a defensive tackle for the 49ers, has been with this team for a while and just re-signed after an offseason away from the team. Kevin Givens, a defensive tackle, was playing defensive end by the end of this one. It might be Jadeveon Clowney time sooner rather than later. Assuming that Clowney wants to partake in training camp, he might be waiting to join a team a little bit later so he doesn't have to go through the dog days of August. But of course the 49ers will be getting guys like Nick Bosa back, and Raheem Morris really explained the situation in whole here.
It's hard to say level of concern. You know, you got Bosa out there, you got Romello Height, you know, Mykel Williams coming back off injury. You know, they're going to all come back at some point. You know, you got Keon White out there. You got a bunch of different guys that can give you such a presence. And then you got different people that can provide different type of rush mechanisms. When you're talking about Fred, you're talking about Greenlaw, you're talking about even the safety position with a guy like Tig, trying to utilize and find different ways to mix it up to get rush, you know, pressure and things that you're able to do. It's hard to say concern. You know, it's more for me like, you know, the chess pieces that can move around and give you different tools and different things that can happen and how you work them.
So as you can tell, Raheem not overly concerned about some of these injuries. Guys like Romello Height, who's going to be so important to this pass rush, should be back soon. And obviously Nick Bosa, as I said, is going to be suiting up for the 49ers for team drills sooner rather than later. He already looks great doing a lot of the other drill stuff. So not time to hit the panic button on the 49ers injury situation along that defensive line just yet. But I do think that the likelihood that they add a veteran, maybe a more notable name like a Jadeveon Clowney, is only increasing. On the offensive side of the ball, there's a lot of clickbait out there, people trying to ride this Dejon Stribling news for clicks. He had a tight hamstring, not a strained hamstring, and the 49ers decided not to practice Stribling, who's been awesome. I would say, quick side note, Dejon Stribling is the best rookie receiver that I've covered in 10 years for the 49ers over the first week of camp. He looks even better than Brandon Ayuk did as a rookie in 2020. But the hamstring tightness kept Dejon Stribling out today. It is not an actual strain, so the 49ers are working to prevent an injury here from Dejon Stribling. And his fellow rookie, Kalon Black, about halfway through practice, they shut him down today. Unclear what that issue is, but obviously something to monitor since Jordan James already on the shelf with a rib fracture. So obviously some stuff to work through for the 49ers. Practice today was the second fully padded session for San Francisco ahead of a walkthrough tomorrow. So that meant that we saw one-on-ones again, and I watched the receivers because I wanted to see Deebo, who was in those bright green shoes, and I got myself a dose of Mike Evans as well. Most impressive rep of one-on-ones, receivers against corners. Mike Evans beating Renardo Green. Really slick move. Faked outside, broke inside on kind of a slant action and made the catch in one-on-ones. That was the only rep for Mike Evans. That's the only rep that he needed. Jacob Cowing wearing the pads now and the number 6 since Deebo's showed up and is number 19. He beat Jack Jones, Cowing over Jones in one-on-ones. Darrell Luter Jr. had a win in coverage against Malik Turner, and then he lost to the rookie Wesley Grimes. Let me tell you a little bit about Wesley Grimes. 6'3" receiver out of NC State, imposing body, and the way that he won deep on a double move today against Darrell Luter Jr. makes me think Wesley Grimes has some juice. He's able to move a little bit and obviously has some of those separation capabilities against a corner who's been with the 49ers for a while. This is the final season of Darrell Luter Jr.'s rookie contract. Junior Bergen, shout out to him, by the way. We talk about him mainly on special teams. He beat Marquise Siegel, got a matchup against the safety in one-on-ones. Then the team drill started, and I said that it was a good day for the 49ers defense, not on the injury front, but performance-wise, they won most of the battles today. Some misfires from the 49ers quarterbacks, Purdy missed Kyle Juszczyk, who had run a wheel route, had gotten behind Dre Greenlaw. Purdy just a little too high for Juszczyk to handle. Similar issue for Mac Jones trying to hit Christian McCaffrey, who had gotten by Fred Warner a little bit later. Just a little too hot to handle, a little too far in front of McCaffrey. So those two big play opportunities 49ers couldn't get. Meanwhile, they did register a big play on a big cutback run from Christian McCaffrey, who continues to look great throughout this training camp. Then the big offensive plays for the 49ers today, most of them came via Deebo Samuel. And I showed up at the facility thinking that Deebo wasn't going to be in team drills. That normally doesn't happen. A guy joins the team. Normally, there's got to be some sort of integration that happens, but I guess this is home for Deebo. I guess it hasn't been all too long since he was here. So he was ready to go right away, and 3 or 4 impressive catch and runs for Deebo Samuel, much to the delight of the assembled crowd.
I was in the locker room yesterday, so I kind of seen them all. Kind of like I stated before, it's like, felt like I never left. They was happy, I was happy, and we just ready to get the ball rolling.
Now, 2 more big plays came courtesy Luke Farrell, the veteran tight end. First year with the 49ers in 2025, caught only 11 passes. Well, Luke Farrell, 2 catches today. Brock Purdy hit him in stride both times crossing the field. One of them turned into a touchdown. And the offense on a day where things weren't clicking saw that click, and the offense, that was a nice reprieve. They were very, very excited when Luke Farrell made that catch. Some of the defensive plays today, Upton Stout had a nice pass breakup covering Deebo Samuel, and then Renato Green, one of the best pass breakups today. That and Deommodore Lenoir, they tried to go deep to Mike Evans. Ball was there on the money, but Evans had it, but Lenoir, with his strength, was able to get in there and knock it away. Just quality football, Lenoir against Mike Evans. And, you know, we're going to get to see more and more quality veteran on veteran stuff over the course of this August of training camp. Front office news for San Francisco. I told you this was a loaded update from in front of the helmet. Paraag Marathe, who's been with the 49ers for a quarter century, 25 years, he is now going to be focused on the 49ers soccer interests in the UK. Leeds United and Rangers FC in Scotland. He's going to be focusing on them full time. Marathe is the chairman of Leeds United, a team 100% owned by 49ers Enterprises. I saw a lot of incorrect reactions to this immediately, as if this were some kind of surprise. It's not. He's staying within the larger 49ers Enterprises umbrella. The 49ers have been working on this move for quite some time now, to the point where Brian Hampton has been running and leading the 49ers side of contract negotiations for almost 2 years now. Basically, I think you trace it back to the Brandon Ayuk negotiation, which was in the summer of 2024, 2 seasons ago. Paraag was the point man on that, but Brian Hampton has been running that for the 49ers. So it's not like the 49ers are shaking things up in violent fashion right now. They have been transitioning to this for quite some time. One might have noticed that in 2025, last offseason, with Hampton running the point, the 49ers finished contract extensions for Brock Purdy, for George Kittle, for Fred Warner very early in the offseason, during spring. Stuff did not drag out until closer to the start of the season, or even into the season, or very close to it, as it did with Brandon Ayuk, Nick Bosa, and others. But all in all, Paraag Marathe, very respected figure around the league, very influential figure around the league, is already doing a good job with Leeds United. He, Brian Hampton, Jeff Diamond, who's the 49ers' top salary cap guy, Brian Hampton now the chief negotiator, they have set the gold standard for how to manage the salary cap in the NFL, and that is not going to change for the 49ers. They have pushed money back into void years. They have learned how to surf the wave of the rising salary cap. They have set the standard for the rest of the league. When the 49ers, for example, when they traded Deebo Samuel back in 2025, it accrued like $31 million in dead money. A lot of people freaked out. They didn't understand the salary cap, but that was intentional because the 49ers had just deferred a lot of the payments on the cap that they had guaranteed to Deebo Samuel, that they had paid out to Deebo Samuel. They pushed it forward into a time of higher cap payments. It's Howie Roseman with the Eagles and Paraag Marathe, Brian Hampton, and Jeff Diamond with the 49ers. That machine is going to keep on running. You can expect him to maintain a little bit of a presence, but after 25 years, no official title with the 49ers. Still, I have to emphasize something that San Francisco has prepared for. We heard from Raheem Morris, 49ers defensive coordinator, after practice today. Good quote here on Jaden Duggar. I know a lot of people always want an update on Duggar. The young linebacker with a wingspan of over 7 feet might be the only stack linebacker in NFL history with a wingspan that long.
He's doing great. The young man has really stepped up on special teams, showing his ability to contribute immediately. Everybody's special team is kind of the proving ground. And when you go out there and you show physicality out there, that really helps it. So, when Brand and Colt and those guys give those guys those kind of credits, and then that gives them the ability to get out there and play even more defense and get more confidence, watching them grow every single day and learn from every single, I can't say mistake, but correction, whatever that correction is, I think is always something that's fun when you're talking about those younger players. And he's, within his room, there's not a lot of talking I have to do to him. He's got Fred and Greenlaw, who are players in that room, along with guys like Wallow and Tatum that have been in this system and been in the system and been around those guys and how to prepare. And then the coaches in that room, talking about Johnny Holland and KJ Wright, guy that's played a long time. They both played in the league. They both coached a long time. Well, Johnny's coached a long time, and he's got a bunch of knowledge he's able to get and acquire every single day, and he's eating it all up.
And then, quote of the day, this is from Dre Greenlaw, who has a lot of parallels with Deebo Samuel. Drafted in 2019 like Deebo. Left the 49ers after 2024 like Deebo. Rejoined the 49ers for 2026 like Deebo. Their contracts are yearly similar. We're still waiting on Deebo Samuel details, but it's $7 million, up to $7 million with those incentives. Dre Greenlaw is up to $7.5 million. So, no one better to talk about this than Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, I reached out to him a little bit, during this free agency time and just kind of say, hey, man, come on back, man. What I'm saying? Let's have a reunion. Let's do this thing together, bro. He knows, it ain't no place like San Fran. You can go, just talking to a bunch of different guys and, getting their experience at different places. And then just, for myself, just the coaches, the people in the building, the players, the leadership that we got on this team, just that warm feeling that you get that it's time for battle, and that's the only thing that matters. And this place is just about football, and if you're a football player, you love that, and just to have the right group of guys around you that wants the same thing and that got that same motivation, man. It's just an unbelievable feeling, unbelievable place, and I know that's what he wants too. I know Deebo's a football player as well, and sometimes you got to go and see what's out there, but once you go, you realize, hey, ain't nothing like San Fran. Man, one thing about us, this team is just it's all love. You know what I mean? Temperatures rise, this and that, and things flare up, but it's all love in the building. I respect 2-3 more than anybody, man. I told him when we first came in, bro, you my favorite player. I told him that. He knows that. And, obviously all the guys that he didn't pay with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis and all them. So I've been telling him, bro, I've been watching you since you came in. So, just to get that honor, back in, 21, 22, 21 when he came. But, yeah, no, sometimes you got to get it going a little bit, man. You got to get them juiced up, man. So, yeah, man, if, you want to throw a ball to get them going or whatever you got to do, hey, do it. So, whatever we got to do to get things rolling, man. So, it's all love. It's just football at the end of the day. It just feels unbelievable, honestly. Just being next to 5'4", he going to control the defense. He going to have you in the right place. And, it just feels like old times, man. You just run around having fun, just enjoying every day, just bringing that juice and getting the best out of each other. And, it just feels great.